Hi, good evening. I'm Yvonne Dam of Amaze Yourself Coaching, and I help busy people like yourself to create time and get more energy to really enjoy life and to enjoy their careers. And tonight I want to share in a interactive kind of workshop way a special topic with you. And it's a topic that is very close to my heart. And the topic or the title of this workshop is called How Can I Make This Feel Amazing? And it's one of my life mottos. Excuse me. And I'll share something about that with you. A couple of years back, I was recently I had a long-term boyfriend. We were together for a long time and we broke up, and I had a wonderful girlfriend, and we decided to go on a holiday trip together, and we would go to Greece and we would have a fantastic time, and we both loved dancing and we saw ourselves dancing the night away and really enjoying ourselves, and just a fun, very lightheartedly vacation. So we went to Greece, and we found out that there weren't a lot of places to dance. And if they were there, they were certainly not what we had in mind when we booked the holiday. So in all fairness, that was quite a disappointment for us because, like I said, we wanted to have a good time, to forget about our sorrows and to dance the night away. But what we did instead of moping and feeling sad about this not being there on the island, we were like, okay, so then what is here to do? And we discovered that it was a very brilliantly beautiful island. So we rented a car, and we went driving into the hills, and we turned it around. And I just have to laugh because I still remember to this day, we rented a car, the cheapest one we could get, and it didn't come with a radio. So instead of listening to the radio, we decided to sing our songs. Now, neither of us could really sing, but we had just an amazing time and just singing and almost like very loudly. And then we drove into this little town still singing and, having fun and doing weird things, when all of a sudden we realized that we had an open roof. So the whole street and the whole village could hear us sing. Not so beautifully, but we had the best of times. And it is actually that situation and many others which inspired me to do this workshop tonight. And there's one other personal thing I wanted to share with you, and that is when it was with the same friend, we went to this pub on a Saturday evening just to have a good time, and we were chilling and we're sitting at the bar, and then all of a sudden this song was played, and it was the special song for me and my ex, which was, very freshly an ex. And I was like, oh gosh, really? I already was a bit, blue, not so happy. And then this song came along. And then my friend, she just dragged me out in this pub where nobody was dancing, because it wasn't a dancing pub. It was just, a regular pub. Dragged me from my stool and said, okay, let's dance. And it was the song was Mr. Bojangles. It's not really a song to dance on for two friends, but we had an amazing time. We laughed, we danced, and till this day, if I hear Mr. Bojangles, I always have to remember how me and my friend just started dancing to replace sad memories with good memories. And that's the memory that's still with me to this day, because we just had an amazing time. It wasn't appropriate in the pub. It wasn't appropriate for two girls to dancing because it wasn't the right music. we still did it, and we changed my memory from a sad one to a good one. And that is why tonight I want to do this workshop on what can I do to feel amazing. And it's something sometimes we take for granted, especially in a world where we have enough, or we have more than enough from everything. We tend to go to places, and then if it's not like we expected, we're disappointed. Sometimes we get grumpy, we get short with staff or people in restaurants and things like that. And what we do is we spoil a lot of our own happiness. We really actually destroy a lot of our own happiness, because if a situation is not like we expected it to be, or like we think it should be, sometimes we're quite disappointed and we're not happy, and we take it out on people surrounding us. And tonight is all about how can I change this? How can I make sure that I feel amazing? I'm gonna take a sip of my tea so you actually can think about this a bit more. So if you are in a situation, and perhaps you are there right now, if you are in a situation where you're not feeling happy, the question to ask yourself is, how can I make this feel amazing? And one of the things and one of the effects of only asking that question is that you're actually opening yourself up to look at it from a different perspective. You're opening yourself up to say, hey, I want to feel amazing. And if you're sad, I'm gonna demonstrate this by looking quite sad and like, I'm not happy right now. And then all of a sudden, you start smiling. You can, if you try it, if you're watching, try it now at home. You can try it and you will notice how this impacts you and the way you feel immediately. That is because smiling and actually pointing your corners of your mouth upwards gives certain signals to your brain saying, hey, this is a happy person. So your brains go like, oh, you're happy? Let me make you feel good. And that's what instantly happens. So for starters, if you're in a situation where you don't want to be in, instead of being grumpy or let it get to you, smile. Because it will make you happy instantly. And what will also happen, sometimes we're there and the people at that certain point of time don't seem so friendly, or they're not smiling. But what will happen if you smile? Almost automatically they will smile back at you. That's like a universal law. Even if people don't really want to smile, if they see you smile and look at them, they will smile at you instantly. So that will contribute to you feeling great. That's the first thing. Okay, then I'm gonna ask you, and it would be great if you would have pen and paper to start writing, because this works best if you actually start doing it with me. So take your pen and the paper and start writing. What is the situation you're in right now which you would like to turn around and you would like to feel amazing about? Take a moment and write it down. Okay, now you've written it down. Most likely your brains already get, oh gosh, this situation, I really do not want to be in there. And the negativity already starts filtering down and makes you feel down as well. So if you've written it down, there are a couple of things you could do. The first one is look at it from a different perspective. So I'm going to take an example about Christmas. Maybe you're going to spend Christmas with somebody you know you really not your most favorite person. Let's say Uncle Bob. You really do not like Uncle Bob, and you know Christmas is coming, it's less than a week away, and you will be with Uncle Bob for at least 2 days, listening to his jokes which you don't think are funny, listening to his story which you don't like, and just, you know, he's not your favorite person in the world. So what I would recommend is try to look at the situation from a different perspective. So if we take the example with Uncle Bob, ask yourself, why does my family feel that Uncle Bob is special? Ask other people about it. Do some investigation. Better yet, ask Bob himself. What has he done? Where does he come from? And the trick is, if somebody starts telling a story you already heard over and over again, just ask a different question so you actually can help that other person to see it from a different perspective as well. We tend to look at a situation always from the same angle. It sometimes helps to put yourself in somebody else's shoes to look at the same situation from a different angle and from a different perspective. And most likely you will be surprised with what you see right there. So I'm going to ask you, write down what different perspective you could take on the situation you've written down, or what you could do to get a different perspective. So I don't know about you, but what I've done is I've written the same situation, but I've now, instead of looking through my own eyes, I've used 2 other persons who would be present in the situation and wondered how would they look at that situation. And both of them looked at it from a very different angle, which was way more positive than my personal perspective. So that's the first try to turn it around and make the situation feel amazing. The second situation is get some courage. Because a lot of negative situations where we find ourselves in are due to us being afraid of something. It might be being afraid to say to Uncle Bob, sorry Uncle Bob, maybe could we discuss this at another time if you really don't want to hear the story again. Or if you feel that Uncle Bob is being offensive, saying something like, sorry, I don't like this. A lot of the things that are happening in a situation we don't like to be in have to do with courage. We can change it, but we need some courage to really change it. So if you just tuned in, we're looking at a situation you don't want to be in and how you can swap it so you actually feel amazing about it. And my question for now is, what would you do if you would have the courage to take that situation? What threshold would you jump over if you would have the courage, and what would then that would allow you to feel amazing about this? Take a moment to write it down. I'm just checking. I think it's still. Can you give me a thumbs up or heart if I'm still there? I just got a phone call. I just want to make sure that that it's still on. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. So what I found, if I look at the situation I've written down, which I don't want to be in, and in which I want to turn around into something amazing, is that if I would have courage, I would do something which is outside of my comfort zone, but which I know would change my situation for the better. And that's also what happens a lot of times. If we're not happy in the situation we're in, it's also because we are afraid to take the next step. We are afraid to go out of our comfort zone. Whereas if we would take that step, we could change a lot of things for the better. In the Netherlands, we've got a saying which means like, go out and ask, because you already have no and you can always get yes. And that's exactly what this point is about. Go and try it. Go and get yourself some courage so you can change the situation for the better. So that's the second solution I wanted to share with you. And something that comes with the courage and is actually speaking your mind. A lot of situations we're in, and especially the ones where we are feeling unhappy about, is also because we do not speak our minds. We keep silent because we believe it's better, like with Uncle Bob. We don't want to upset the family, or we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to get into a fight with somebody. But it does make us feel personally miserable because we feel like we don't agree, but we didn't stand up for ourselves. So with courage, it's also sometimes just speaking your mind. And speaking your mind does not always have to be done in a rude way, especially when you keep it to your own personal way of experiencing it. It's not very likely to offend people. So have courage and speak your mind when you feel that that will improve the situation. And then the last tip I wanted to share with you to change a situation you feel you're not happy about and to make that more amazing. The last thing you can do is easily. You always have to remember that you have a choice. If you're unhappy of the situation you're in, whether that is work, a relationship, or just being somewhere where you don't like it and it's difficult for you to turn it around with all the other tips, simply walk away. But what a lot of us tend to do is, even though we're unhappy as to where we are, we stay. We stay in a bad relationship, we stay in we stay friends with people we don't like anymore. We stay in a job we hate, even though we have a choice. And the choice is yours. You can walk away and make this feel amazing anytime. And that's the last thing I wanted to share with you. Do you need to stay there? Are you stuck? And is it maybe time to go for a walk to make the situation more amazing? I'm just going to take a minute so that you can actually let this filter through, but think about it. Think about Uncle Bob. If he's really setting you up, and you feel horrible, walk away. Go to the kitchen, just go for a walk. But there's always an opportunity for you to go away. So, in short, today I wanted to share with you how can I make this feel amazing. And I shared with you 3 tips. The first one is to change your perspective. The second one is to take your courage and either speak your mind or go out of your comfort zone so that you actually can change the situation you're in. And the third one is, if the first and the second tip don't work for you, walk away. You are not set in that situation and you can just leave and change the situation for better. This was the first interactive workshop I've done with you, and I'm very curious to find out what you think of it. I'm happy to do this more often because I really love to engage with you more, and I love to share some of the tips in real I was gonna say daylight, but it's dark already, but real live exchange of information with you. So I'll do it more often. If you have any queries or any comments, please leave them below this video because I would love to hear from you. And this is what I wanted to share with you today. My life motto: how can I make this feel amazing? I'm Yvonne Dam of Amaze Yourself Coaching. And I love for you to enjoy your life and your career, and I love to help you there. Have a lovely evening.